A cop who plays by his own rules. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. The choice been going to mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. Love that about you. Angelo Tsarouchas, stand-up comedian and actor, is in studios. Got gigs coming up. Bridgeport, Connecticut, Stress Factory Comedy Club. That'll be March 21st. And then New Brunswick, New Jersey, Stress Factory again, Comedy Club. That'll be March 24th. And I'll tell you where you can go to find out all his live dates shortly. Good to see you, Angela.
Good to see you, Adam.
So I got stuff to talk about.
Sure.
I asked you before the show started if you're doing much Southwest flying, and you said did some recently. And so we've kind of got to the bottom of something, because my Southwest flying is 80% of it is Burbank to Vegas.
Right.
And I've been doing that route for quite some time. We used to do crank anchors in Vegas, outside of Vegas, the Strip. So I've been back and forth a lot. Noticed recently that the beverage service has stopped. The beverage service is... what they do is they go, it was a little choppy coming out of Vegas, and so we're just going to go ahead and suspend the service for safety. And then when you get to Vegas, at some point when you come home from Vegas, they go, it was a little choppy getting out of Burbank, and we're going to suspend. So all the drink, the beverage, suspended. And I started thinking something smells rotten in Denmark here. Something's afoot. And everyone's always like, well, it's choppy. But each time I fly it, it's not choppy.
It's not.
Right.
It happened to me on a flight from Burbank to Reno. I was working there. And the plane got hit by lightning. That's what you want to hear before you get on an airplane.
Got hit on the way in.
He got hit on the way in, and they said we're going to be delayed because he got hit by lightning.
Wow.
So we're sitting there. Then we got in the airplane. Same thing happened. They said, oh, it's a bit choppy.
Right.
It's going to Reno.
Right.
So, yeah, every airplane as it departs is a little
choppy
for about a minute or not even.
Yeah, it's like saying I was on my Sea-Doo in Malibu and it was a little bit choppy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's the nature of the
nature
business.
of it.
It's going to be a little bit choppy.
So there are no free bags on Southwest then, because if you think about it, they're cutting back on beverage service and snacks.
Yes. So I decided they were doing this, and COVID tipped me off to this, when they're just like, look, there's a whole bunch of shit we don't want to do, and we're just going to call it COVID. But what we'll do is we'll go safety. And then once you go safety, you get to make whatever rules you want. That's how we all got fucked by COVID.
Yep.
They just went, we're playing it safe. And then they did whatever the fuck they wanted. A lot of it was random. So I was complaining about that on this show, that I've been noticing a pattern of this excuse of no beverages. And somebody else was complaining about it on the internet, and somebody tweeted Chris or reached out to Chris, and got some pilots on board as well.
Yeah, so it's a guy on Twitter named Clint Fiore. He does a lot of business information. Just follow him. He does newsletters, things like that. So he tweeted Southwest Air and just said, hey, first time I'm off, I'm a fan. I've been flying with you for many years, but I'd like to bring to your attention a possible core values lapse I've repeatedly seen from your flight crews on short hop flights.
Yes.
And he says, quote, our pilots have told us they are expecting to encounter some turbulence on the short 35-minute flight to Houston, so they've asked us to remain seated throughout the flight, so there will not be drink service on this flight. So be sure to get a beverage here in the terminal before the flight if you need something.
Oh, in the terminal.
Yeah,
right.
So they're actually saying it over the...
In the airport.
Yeah.
Oh, so I get it on the plane.
Right.
Because Burbank's maybe a bigger airport. But the thing is it started to seem like these were people who were getting paid the same whether they pushed a cart up and down the aisles and handed out the pretzels and the Pepsi or not. And what I'm starting to notice from everybody who works now is they all don't want to work.
Nobody wants to work.
Nobody wants to work. I figured it out with COVID. It's like, oh, teachers want to stay home and get paid, like the rest of the world would like to stay home and get paid. But as long as they trot out the safety excuse, then they can stay home and get paid. And I just spoke to a friend of mine who does custom cars. And he does a lot of fabrication and builds Tim Allen, his hot rods, and blah, blah, blah.
Exhibit. We've had him on the show.
Exhibit. Yeah. Exhibit puts fish tanks in cars. But Bodie Stroud builds one-off supercars for guys. Great guy.
Yeah.
He's been on the show, been on CarCast before. And I said to him, like, how's the business going? And he goes, there is no more business. And I said, why not? And he goes, nobody wants to work. I can't find guys who want to work. I can't find guys.
And not only that, have you noticed when you buy something at a store or a coffee shop, they have that little screen. Oh, we're going to ask you a question. And they turn the screen around.
Right.
And the tipping for grabbing a bag of chips and handing it to you.
Right.
18, 24, 39%, whatever it is. For what? Doing your job.
It's kind of diabolical. As I was looking at those screens the other day, because A, you didn't do shit to earn this,
right.
but B, it's interesting because it was 18, 22%, and then 30% or something like that. Now, the standard I think that people use at restaurants is 20%.
20% if you're sitting that down getting full service.
Yeah, but
Right.
It's 22%. So the standard is 20, but you don't offer 20. You do 18, 22, and then 35 or whatever it is. I've come up with the psychological dynamic behind this, which is no one wants to hit 18 because it's below 20.
Yeah, there's shame.
We would like to hit
Right.
20, but you don't offer 20. You
Right.
offer 22.
Yeah.
If you do 18, 25%, we go, fuck it, you're getting
Okay,
18. You do 22%, and then I go, it sounds like 20%, and I hit 22 because I don't want to be a cheapskate and hit 18. I'm not going up to 35% because you handed me a bagel.
Yeah,
I never thought of
R&D
it
on
that
this.
way. I never thought of it that way. That makes sense. Because why would you put it at 18?
And then they get 20. Why would you go 18 or 22? Why don't you just go 20%? Because that's the industry standard. And what you do with that 22 is each time 10 people do the 22, it's like getting 20%. It just keeps compiling
Right.
and adding on. So that's part of the grift. The other part of the grift, I don't know if you guys get this much, but picking up food. I've picked up takeout food my whole life. I was never walking out the door and had any woman I've ever been with go, you got to tip them. Make sure you tip. Now they yell, make sure you tip. And it's like, hey, I'm getting in my fucking car and driving to where they are and taking the food. You got to leave something for them on takeout, which
Right.
is that's the new world order. But
I used to do takeout.
Southwest used to bundle it.
Yeah, I used to bundle it, put it together.
Yeah.
Did you get
it's usually
tipped?
like the host at the shows. Yeah, I got at the restaurants. Yeah, I got tipped, but I didn't expect anything more than like 10%, 10, 15% when I did it. Basically 10. But you did do stuff like you made sure the order was right. You bundle it together. You get everything going.
I think that in a way wasn't fair. The old system of zero. But I'm just saying it's a new world order where people are yelling at you to tip when you're getting in the car.
Well,
Yeah.
you also have to be careful of hidden fees. There are places here in Studio City where if you don't look at the bill properly, it's like $3.95 service fee to the kitchen.
Yeah,
Right.
And I go, what's this for?
They tack it on there.
It's for to help the kitchen out. My salad that I was paying $13 is now $20.
Yes, I listen. I feel the same way about room service when they just tack
Right.
it on.
Yeah.
It's first off. Okay, let me explain something. Women, when you donate your eggs for $50,000,
Right.
that's not donating your eggs.
You're getting paid for it.
That's selling your eggs. Now, different kind of eggs than the scramble we're talking about. But I'm just saying, be careful with the labeling. I know it feels better to say you donated your eggs and then you bought a convertible. But what I'm saying to you, bitches, is you sold your eggs. Let's call it what it is. And when you take a tip and you just build it into the price of room service, it's no longer a tip. It's a tariff. It's no different than a resort tax or destination fee or whatever. Now we're dealing with the DMV. At this point, you're just tacking it on.
I would always ask, like, does this all go to you?
Right.
And then,
So I would like to be able to tip the person that brings the food to the room, not have it built into the price.
Right, but isn't it based on what you feel the service is worth?
It kind of should be.
it is, and there's and it is unfair. Like, I mean, if you order a $30 bottle of wine versus a $280 bottle of wine, the tip is exponentially bigger, but it's the same amount of effort, labor for the server.
Well, also, Angelo's right in that you order room service and the guy comes pushing it up and he sees you standing there in your towel and he goes, Jesus Christ, you need a burger and fries?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
How about a little kale, bro?
Yeah.
So you make it through
kale
the week.
salad.
Jesus Christ. Then he takes a dump and doesn't flush and then leaves. I don't want to tip that dude. I don't want it built in.
Yeah.
I want him hustling.
I just want to know who told you.
There's word on the street, Angelo.
On the street.
Just put a bathrobe on next time. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so look, I took my kid to Wendy's. My kid's 10. Took her to Wendy's, and this is another phenomenon. The bill was $17.03. I gave the guy, Adam, $20.03, and you could see the sparks coming out of his fucking head. He didn't know, and he handed me back $83 change.
Oh, wow.
True story.
Where is that Wendy's? I want to go
on
there.
Van Nuys.
All right, I'm going.
So I went, and then I looked at my daughter and go, you see what happened? She goes, yeah. I go, well, we're going to fix it because it's, it's going to be, he's going to get in trouble. So I go, I think you made a mistake. He goes, no, I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
And I said it. I said, no, I didn't. Like I reminded him of his stepfather or something. I said, look, I gave you 20. The bill was $17.03. I gave you $20.03.
Right.
You gave me back 83. He goes, well, it's the right change.
Wow.
So we went to the car. I took it. We went to the car. We closed the door. My 10-year-old turns to me and says, half of that is mine, right?
Right.
So she's like, and I was like, and I thought the 3 cents, Adam, fucked the kid's head up.
Yep.
He couldn't process, well, why are you giving me 3 cents? So you'll give me $3.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 10-cent head mixed with the 3 cents.
They can't
fried a circuit.
They can't.
So this Southwest pilots.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Are-
he goes on saying that like the passenger next to him also commented like the same thing happens to him on all of his flights. And this guy writes, "My theory is the flight attendants don't want to work as hard on such a short and packed capacity flight. Look, I get it, but be honest at the top and just say flights less than 45 minutes. We don't serve drinks or something. Like just be honest with us. Don't give us the runaround. So,
or we're moody.
yeah,
Right.
Or
We're moody.
Yeah.
Well-
Are we all synced up our periods?
Yeah.
And today's D-Day.
But
And then-
Chris, you know what's funny, Chris? I was on Southwest, this, A, B, C.
Uh-huh.
And the guy's
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to be funny. He goes, we have A and B. And he looks at me and he goes, oh, you're on C for center seat.
Yeah, that's right.
And they think buddy, there's enough unemployed comics. I don't need fucking comedy.
No, they're doing a lot less shtick into the intercom now.
They were known for that. Yeah.
You know what happened to that? I'll judge your silences. No.
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 You're right. It went away. I don't know
It
why.
went away. You know why?
Somebody got
I know.
upset?
Yeah, you know what happened? They were trying to pick a seat or telling everyone to pick a seat. This story's about 10 years old, 8 years old. Dawson can look it up. They're trying to pick a seat, and the Southwest chick was in the squawk box, and she was like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. And I hope you're sitting down, but there's a couple of black passengers who took offense. I know that's not a story we've ever heard before.
Right.
But there was a couple of black females that took offense because they claimed the origin of that tiger. We replaced tiger with a word that was pretty close to tiger.
Yeah.
But we just smoothed it out a little bit. And they said they knew the origin story. Now, the 27-year-old chick from Phoenix who was doing it didn't know any other version of it.
No,
you know what I mean?
99.9% of us learned it on the playground when we were
Right.
kids.
I thought maybe there was some tigers on the plane that were upset about it.
No one from
2003,
Detroit.
Southwest sued over nursery rhyme.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
So what ends up happening with all the fucking assholes that sue everyone all the time over everything is at some point the man goes, you know what, just fuck it. No more talking. No more joking. No more screwing around. And you go, but I don't do racially
it.
motivated something. It's just
Not worth it.
Don't
it came
bother.
down from the office. Nothing. Just don't do whatever it is you were doing before. That's how everything ends, by the way. But yeah, they sued. I don't know if they settled. And
So
by the way,
I should have sued United Airlines
yes.
for screwing up my name
Oh, what'd they do?
because they added another letter to my last name.
Oh my God.
And there's a gate change. And the guy goes, United Airlines passenger Tsarouchas. Angelo Tsarouchas.
To be fair, it's spelled TSA.
TSA.
Wow, TSAROUCHAS.
So they put a T after the
R.
Tsarouchas
Yeah.
ass. And that actually happened. So I thought it was funny when the guy said it over the intercom, but people were like staring at me like.
In the pantheon of anyone can sue anyone over anything, the Southwest passengers who sued Southwest because she said eeny, meeny, miny, mo, it is now official. Now anyone can sue over
a
anything.
nursery rhyme.
What would I don't know what the damages would be. I don't know how it worked. I don't know if there's anyone on that plane that knew anything, but they sued, and I think Southwest settled. I don't know if Dawson has it. So
Oh, my God.
the new world order is people don't want to work. People under 40 especially don't want to work. Like when I was talking to Bodie Stroud, I was like, he goes, I can't find help. I got no mechanics. I got no
everywhere.
fabricators. I got nobody who wants to
everywhere.
work. And I said, is that just a California thing? No. And he said, no, because I would get work and I'd farm it out. I'd go, like, I don't have help, so I can't do your project. But there's a place in Arizona, you can go to them. And there's a place in like North Carolina, I would refer them.
Oh, he's outsourcing.
And he said, those people also said they can't do projects because they don't have help. Because people don't want to, well, they're not skilled anymore. Nobody knows how to turn a wrench or shape metal or, TIG weld or heliarc or whatever they're doing. They don't have the skill set, but they also don't want to work. I said, Bodie, he's about my age.
Everywhere.
We just sit around. I go, it's some kind of practical joke played on old white guys like us, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what to tell you. I said, people are celebrating half birthdays and not coming in on Monday. He's like, I know what is going on. And then he goes, I go, guys are staying home for months for maternity leave. Like months.
What is
dudes.
it, Sweden? That's what they
Yes.
do
I'm
there.
like, dudes, he
Paternity.
goes, oh my God, my rag guy.
Had to be done.
The guy who did his rags, the guy, he's a shop, the guy.
Right.
He goes, yeah, I walked into the office a few years ago and I said, why do we keep paying this guy's invoice? I haven't seen him in months. And they got hold of the guy and he was like, yeah, I'm on maternity leave.
Yeah.
For 3 months.
He's on maternity
He's
leave.
on maternity leave. Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary's gay, has a husband, adopted the fucking kid. It's not like he shit the kid out. He adopts the kid, and he's gone for like 6 months.
Maybe they don't want to work because you're calling him rag guy.
Yeah, maybe that's it. So,
Yeah, but that's everywhere. Canada,
nobody
Europe,
wants to work anymore.
It's universal. Nobody wants to work. If you go at the airport, they have Clear and TSA line at Newark Airport.
Yeah.
So I'm there early morning last week, and it's supposed to be quick. They had one guy, 9 kiosks, one guy and one guy in the front, and it's New York. So
At Clear.
hey, where are the employees? What we paid for this? And the other regular line was moving faster.
Yes.
And it's true. And now what's happened, they're charging you for the convenience, but they're not giving you the service.
Yeah, it's basically back in the day, they had, when you'd go to the bank, they'd have like 7 tellers for the general pop, and then they had the VIP line, 1 teller. So it's like 1 teller with 7 people in front of you, or 7 tellers with 10 people in front of them. It's like
Right.
it's the exact same math.
Yep.
You want to stand in the VIP line because it
Right.
seems cool, except for there's just one guy, and it ends up being the exact same time in line. So
Because it's moving quicker, and I think they're selling us. You know what it is, Adam? They're selling us the status. So executive platinum,
Right,
premium economy. They are selling you the name,
Yes.
but they're not offering you the service for it. Now, if you go to the lounges at the airports, because we travel all the time, there's you can't get in. We're understaffed and there's too many people.
yeah,
But
yeah.
they want you to buy the credit card at 39%
Right.
interest.
Oh, I'll tell you, whenever I go to those, I'll tell you the worst sight ever is when you're ordering the Bloody Mary at the bar, And the guy, now I don't want to get in any eeny, meeny, miny, mo trouble, but the guy's got the jigger out. And he's holding the jigger. Listen, I get it. You got to measure it. Do that move where you hold it over the mouth of the glass, give the pour, and as you're just pouring, dump it and keep the pour
Don't
going
stop
for
pouring.
2. Right.
Yeah.
He's off to the side. Trying to balance it off,
God.
stops a quarter inch from the top, and then spills a little on the way to the glass. It's like, I got a hummingbird's beak
annoys
worth of
me
vodka in this fucking thing, and you want a tip? All right, so the pilots are onto this shit on Southwest.
Right. So this guy's tweet went viral because I guess a lot of people also share this theory.
Yes,
This grievance.
I am one.
And this guy started getting DMs. Clinton, I'll read some of them because he posted the screenshots, but he kept their identity secret. Like one guy says, "I'm a Southwest pilot." You're right. I don't mention that in public social media, but basically, you're right. Another pilot says, "Your tweet reads almost exactly like reports from our own pilots."
Yes.
And then another pilot, he says, "Look, we all want to support our crews, and I have said it's going to be rough to get a service out maybe twice in my career." But
now he says it every day.
flight attendants 100% make stuff up and go
Yes.
rogue. I get to read all our pilot reports, and you'll see captains complain about it now and then. COVID really impacted the work culture in that group, and it's very domicile dependent.
Well, here's the thing. Hold on a sec, Dawson. It's an interesting social experiment, which is there are 2 employees on that plane. I don't mean just 2, but I mean there's pilots, and then there's stewardess or whatever the fucking call them. I can't call them that.
Flight
attendants.
Flight attendants. Okay. But if you're a dude and you're flight attendant, you're still a puss. I'd stick with stewardess. You know what I mean? Like I say, look, dudes can do ballet. You know what I mean? We just go.
Yeah.
I'm not a ballerina, but I do ballet. You're just a dude stewardess. That's fine. But anyway, so the pilots.
I like that dude stewardess.
The pilots have to do what the pilots have to do each and every time. Nothing ever changes, right?
Yeah.
So you're the pilot. I'm getting on the plane in Burbank. We're going to McCarran in Vegas. You got to taxi. You got to throttle up. You got to put the flaps down. You got to bring up the landing gear, and you got to get us to Vegas safely. Okay. You get paid $1,000 a trip or whatever the hell you get paid, $800. I don't know what it is, but your pay does not change and your job does not change, and there's no cutting back, there's no modifying. What you do is exactly the same. And by the way, 50 years ago, it was the exact same job.
Right.
And 50 years from now, it'll be the same job.
Right.
The flight attendants, there's wiggle room. Now, the flight attendants get paid $200 or whatever it is, right? But they can either get paid $200 to sit in a jump seat for the entire flight, or they can get paid $200 to get off their ass and push that cart up and down the fucking aisle and deal with the dregs of society who are going to Vegas on a Thursday.
Do you have Coke Zero?
Yeah. No, we have Pepsi free.
Pepsi free.
They have to
Coke
do the
Zero.
dance where the person then goes, "So no Coke Zero?" Every time I order with a woman, I'm like, please don't do this again.
Just crushing
Please
your
do this
Fiesta
again.
mix.
Oh man, you
Yeah.
go out to eat with Drew's wife. Dr. Drew's wife. It's
Right.
like, what kind of salad dressing? We have Roquefort, we have blue cheese, we have zesty Italian. No Thousand Island? No. So just the Roquefort. He just told you what.
I got a friend like that.
Yeah,
It might change.
yes.
Is it organic garlic or is it?
Oh, yeah. He's got Thousand Island,
Yeah.
but there's a guy in a van, and you got to knock the right way, but I can
Right.
go get you some if you need it. He just told you what he had. That's all. Let's not take this circle around this park again. But they get paid $200 either sit in a jump seat or go argue over Coke Zero, right?
Right.
So what are they going to do? Now, if you want to fix the problem, you just go, look, ladies and dude stewardesses,
Dude.
you get $150 if you stay in the jump seat, and you get $200 if we do a drink service. But if we don't do a drink service, then you're not doing anything, so we'll give you $150. If you did that, then they would all come back. But that's the only way to get them back. Because right now, they're doing it, and thank God it doesn't work that way with the pilots. Well, I get extra for landing.
You know, come to think of it, I've taken flights from Burbank, Sacramento, Reno, Burbank, Las Vegas, and Phoenix. And now that you bring it up, and not that I'm piling on here, but I don't think there's been drink service once on any of those flights.
Yeah. No, but
Within an hour of Burbank.
they're all gone now. But this just happened, like in the last year. I know. So sorry, Dawson.
Right.
The flip side of that drink coin that also proves the point is I took a Southwest flight from Vegas to Burbank, and there was drink service. I got a double whiskey, and the lady just handed me 2 bottles. I reached for my card to pay. She pushed my hand down and walked away.
She doesn't carry. They don't
Doesn't
carry.
care. Yeah, they just want to get it done. They were forced into drink service then. Maybe it's because the flight left Vegas. I don't know.
Or maybe she
No.
liked your sexy voice.
They're
Possible.
not. They're not going to do it 100% of the time.
whispered to her.
It's up to 85% of the time. And they'll have to do it randomly every once in a while to throw people like us off.
Right.
But there's a ruse. I yelled about it. I called it. It's on.
It's happening.
And also, Southwest doesn't need to give out a bunch of Coke Zeros and Triscuits for free either.
Right,
The
that's true.
airline saves money as well.
Would you agree that if they were just real with you, that would help and just said, look, it's too short of a
If somebody
flight.
said, look, if they said, look, this 737 holds 186 souls. And by the time we level out on the way to Vegas, that gives about 18 to 20 minutes of
Yeah.
level flight time.
Not enough time.
For 200 people, we're not going to do it. If a flight's half full and we level out, you got 20 minutes? Yeah, we'll do that. And then I would go, this all sounds very reasonable to me. That
Yeah.
would be it.
So your kids are the age where they should be looking at jobs, getting jobs, and so are their friends. What kind of jobs are they getting? Are their friends doing? Like, I mean,
They
what
want to be
are the Gen Z jobs right
influencers.
now?
Influencers.
That is actually, there is a report that the number one job or industry that Gen Z wants to work in is media and entertainment.
They have, look, here's the problem. They think, and they may have choices and options. We did not have choices and options. The option was get out of the house or get the fuck out of the house. Those were my 2 options.
A or B.
True. I lived in the garage. I didn't even go into the main house. I lived in the garage and showered with the hose out in the backyard and hung out in my garage all day. My stepmom's like, when we picking it up here? And I'm like, I'm in the garage. And they're like, yeah, we'd like to bring it back so we could park the cars in the shade.
Sounds like my dad. I left Greece when I was 15 years old. Get the fuck out of the house now. Go do what I did. And he wanted a third. He didn't say half. It was too much. You do a third of what I did, I'll be happy about it. But you're right. And now it's like, but you know what, Adam? You got to blame our generation for why the next generation's been coddled. Really? Because we're like, well, I don't want my children to be like this. I don't want, I mean.
No, we overdid it.
We overdid it, man. We fucked it up.
No, I was like, I had no air conditioning. I had no money. We never went out to eat. The car sucked. We're poor. I'm not going to raise my kids this way. So my things, I don't know. My daughter got a job at a restaurant doing the greeter.
Takeout? No.
Right.
At a restaurant. It's good. She's working. My son's not gainfully employed yet. I keep telling him, get a job at the McDonald's, and everyone yells at me.
What's stopping him?
Nothing really. He has a thing going on now where he's got to take a piss like every hour or something, and it's kind of screwing him up. He has to get up at night and take a leak, and we've got to get some medication and stuff. So there's like kind of a viable reason not to work, but we worked out of desperation. Well, we worked because we wanted money.
But what about like
Right,
their
we
friends?
wanted
If all of
things.
our friends are working, if all my friends are working and I'm not, that would bother me, and I would try to get a job.
Yeah, you know the weird thing about all the weird social pressures, that we used to feel growing up? Like, oh, Tim's got his driver's license and I'm 17 and I don't have a driver's license.
yeah.
I feel like a chump.
Yeah.
All gone. It's all gone. Because
they
you
don't-
know why? Because we can't judge.
Well, they don't
Nobody
want.
can
They don't want
judge
to
anymore.
drive. They don't want to drive. They want to take Uber.
Right.
And I see it now. Like I grew up. My dad was like, you work or you go to school. There's none of this. Stay home and try to figure out your life. There was no figuring out your life. And even now, I'm a workaholic.
Right.
Meaning, even whatever my dad always said, if you're going to do something, he had that old Greek diner
Let's hear him
mentality.
sound. Let's hear what he sounds like.
So my father would be like this. He goes, okay. He goes to me, Angelo, what you're gonna do, he says, you're gonna get a job. Now you want to do this stand-up comedy bullshit, malakias, whatever you call it. Do it, but do it good. So it was in his world. It was like, you want to do this? I'm for it, but don't be a dick about it. Do it where people are gonna like you for it.
His dad's a Spartan.
That's
An
very.
actual
My
Spartan.
dad was Spartan.
Yeah.
He was from Sparta,
Yeah.
Greece, and it's funny. I did a show. So I'm going to throw this in. I did a show with Maz Jabrani and those guys, all the Persian comics, out in Long Beach, and they said there's 2,000 Persian people and only one Greek, and I said it's a fair fight. Nobody said, but it's Adam. It's been instilled in me, and I even tell my daughter, I go, you can have all the things you want, but help your mom around the house, clean up, because. For us, it was like our summer. We didn't have a cottage in Canada. I grew up in Canada. We didn't have a cottage or anything. It was either work at the restaurant or go to Greece.
Wow.
So that's how our dad raised us. So the fact of the matter is that I've taken that and I'm hoping, but then I also see myself enabling just a little bit. I have one daughter, and I'm like, oh, my dad was a bit of a prick. You know what? I don't want to be that guy now. And then I'm like, oh, I'm doing a little bit of everything that my dad would. My mom also worked. The whole family worked. Don't get me wrong, but it's like and I see sometimes here these donut shops in LA where you go in and the families are running the donut shop, and that reminds me of my childhood.
Greek food, Greek restaurant.
Greek food, Greek restaurants, and and I can cook, I can clean, I can waiter, you name it, I'll do it. I don't care.
You can work. That's the whole point.
I'll work.
You're
I'm willing to work.
Not scared of work. All right.
No.
We need to take a break. I got some heavy, interesting porn-related questions for you. I want to know, and I got questions for the staff. So, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Dawson. Did they settle up?
It went to trial in Kansas City. Federal jury, 8-person jury, 7 white men, 1 white woman, found Southwest Airlines not guilty of discrimination.
Yeah, strike one up for Whitey.
A couple of really kind of funny points here. The 2 sisters, aged 46 and 49, testified that they were embarrassed, humiliated, and frustrated. One testified she had suffered a small seizure on the flight home, which was triggered by the remark. And then later at home, she said she had a grand mal seizure and was bedridden for 3 days. I think she needs to go to the asthma field.
Anybody who flies Southwest should be prepared to be humiliated. The entire experience is humiliating.
Hold on, she had a seizure from the nursery rhyme?
She claimed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Better never go to a dice show.
No. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You're still clutching at your heart. All right. I got porn questions, and we'll do that right after this. Magic Spoon. Well, I try to cut back on sugar and add a little more protein to my diet, and that's where Magic Spoon comes in. Makes it easier and more delicious than ever. They have a variety pack, 4 flavors, cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. That's my personal favorite, peanut butter. Here's the deal. A lot of you got away from cereal because it's all carby and sugary, but you do miss cereal. And this is a way to get back into that cereal you enjoy so much without all the carbs and all the grams of sugar. It has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Only 140 calories per serving, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. Go to magicspoon.com/Adam. Grab a variety pack. Try it out today. Be sure to use the promo code Adam at checkout for $5 off. You're going to like this stuff. It's magicspoon.com/Adam. Right, Dawson?
Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember, start the year off right with a delicious bowl of high-protein cereal at magicspoon.com/Adam and use the code Adam to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
Let me tell you about my friends over at Cook Unity. We all have local restaurants we wish we could have at home. Oh, yeah. You wish you got that local. Sometimes I'll even ask them, like, what's in the salad dressing? And they go, we're not going to tell you. That's why you come here. But then there's Cook Unity. First, chef-to-you service, delivering locally sourced meals right to your door every week, cheaper than delivery. Go to cookunity.com/Adam or enter the code ADAM before you check out for 50% off your first week. I like the pulled barbecue chicken and collard greens. That was the one I thought personally I liked the best, but there's so many great offerings. No cooking required for a chef quality dining experience right at home. Unlike other meal services, Cook Unity is a chef collective. Every meal is handcrafted and made in local micro kitchens. I hate food waste, you know that. Cook Unity arrives fresh in compostable, recyclable, or reusable packaging that keeps in the fridge for up to 7 days. Hundreds of dishes to choose from, and the menu's updated constantly. So let's get some Cook Unity, right, Dawson?
Experience chef-quality meals every week delivered right to your door. Go to cookunity.com/Adam or enter code ADAM before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code ADAM or going to cookunity.com/Adam.
If it sounded Greek for my father, it was Greek. That's it. I can say, excuse me, can I borrow your pakamachis? By that, pakamachis. You mean Dimitri Pakamachis? He's from my village in Greece. I know that guy. What the f*** are you talking about? What Dimitri Pakamachis? I want Pakamachis. I know that guy. I want a Pakamachis. He's Greek, that guy, Pakamachis, Dimitris. Remember that movie, Boys in the Hood? South LA gang members. We're watching with my dad. The guy comes, yo, I'm gonna pop a cap in your ass. What's that? Pop a cap in your ass. Stavros, pop a cap in your ass. You know him? Yes, he's related to Dimitri Pakamachis. That's it. He's Greek too.
Angelo Tsarouchas is on the Adam Carolla Show.
All right, Angelo. All right, so let's try to figure out porn here for a second.
Okay.
I was talking about this with Dr. Drew and Chris earlier. My feeling is there's good eras and bad eras for everything. Architecture, right. 20s, 30s, better. Modern stuff's not, you don't want stuff from the 70s and the 80s, the flat roof and the aluminum windows. Cars, automobiles, right. You don't want some 80s K car, some shit like that. You want a Jag from the 60s or Ferrari or some muscle car from the 60s.
They're built
Chevelle SS.
Yeah. They had, they're better eras for heavyweight boxers. They're better eras for architecture and movies and literature, too. You can argue over what era we're in, but some were better than others. I happen to like the aesthetic of the 60s women, 60s and 70s women. I like it. The ones now with all
the bush.
Everything about it.
There's something sexy about them.
Yeah, maybe it's part of the childhood or something. But the part with all the tattoos and the fake tits and spitting on everything all the time, it's too much. Mm-hmm. It's too much for me.
What's with all the spitting?
What's with all the slobber, ladies? Yeah. And I would say, argue the music. I don't really like new music. I don't like mumble rap and shit like that. I like, you want to hear Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Classic rock.
Yeah, classic rock. Or whatever your era is. You want your era. So first things first. Do people's porn eras match up with their childhood? So
absolutely.
I find myself looking at stuff that I would have looked at when I was in high school, but I couldn't get my hands on it.
Well, because I go on I've heard, I go on certain sites and there's a vintage button. Yeah. Vintage porn. And I'm thinking I'm on a new site looking at old porn.
Right.
And I think you're right. It brings you back to that time in your life where it was taboo.
Right. But the question is if you're younger and you grew up with porn, and maybe that's why these kids lost the eye of the tiger.
Okay, that's
then why. You had porn when you were 16, and so maybe you're not going back to that porn. I don't know. For me, it was like taboo, and you couldn't see any of these people.
Well, we didn't have internet, so you'd go to the movie theater, But
here's what I was thinking about. Okay. All right, so you go back, and you might look at some vintage stuff from when you would have been a young lad.
Misty Beethoven.
Misty
That was one of those vintage, arguably best porn ever made. It was called Misty Beethoven.
Yeah.
Remember, it was all that.
Beethoven or Beethoven?
Beethoven or
Maybe
Beethoven?
it's a Canadian thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, look, when I met Jimmy Kimmel, we bonded over Sex Boat. I was like, my buddy's dad had Sex Boat, and I used to go to my buddy's house and watch Sex Boat, and he goes, my buddy's dad had Sex Boat too, and I would go to his house.
So Sex Boat was like a channel?
Sex Boat was a movie.
Because when Canada and Montreal, we had Bleu Nuit. So on Friday nights, they would show, in Montreal, they would show this Bleu Nuit. It was kind of like soft pornish, and it was after 11:30, 12 at night, so we would stay up on the French channels. The French Canadians had a different view of sex than the English.
Always more titties.
More of that.
I mean, I used to watch Benny Hill to try to see some titties back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So here's what I was thinking about. I researched it, which is these women, if you go look it up, any of this vintage stuff, let's call it later 1960s to, let's just say 1980, somewhere in there, like 12, 15-year thing. That vintage stuff and those porn stars back in the day, a lot of them were loops, as they call it, like 9-minute little vignettes, like not whole movies.
They're shorts.
They're shorts. They weren't Debbie Does Dallas. Some of them were, but mostly they were just little guy-girl loopy things. Sometimes not even mic'd. Some just had like music over them or whatever.
In the background, yeah.
In the background. So I was thinking about this, and so let's just say it's 1970, and you're an attractive 22-year-old, 21-year-old female college student, and people are being liberated. A lot of this stuff, a lot of the early stuff were like New York people who were actors and stuff. This was just avant-garde shit. Like you were rebelling doing a porn. You weren't doing a porn because you were molested by your stepdad. You're doing it because you're sticking it to the man.
It's like getting a tattoo.
Right. Yeah.
So you would do one of these things. You got paid about $150 to do this. No back end, no residuals, no nothing. Right? Just $150, do your porn movie. 1970, you and
it's
a
a lot
dude.
of money then.
Yes, gun for hire.
Not a lot of money.
But
it was, hey, look, you could make a car payment.
Right.
Or something like that. Maybe pay your rent on a small apartment or whatever. Go out, buy some groceries, go out to dinner and see a movie. You go through that $150. Okay, now, what were your expectations if you did that? It's like a 21-year-old female college student. Like, who would see this? Would have to be what you would think, right? Like, she's from Muncie, Indiana. They don't have a Pussycat Theater in her town. There's no way her dad or any of her classmates are going to whatever. Maybe it'll show up at some movie house in L.A. or New York, but not really a movie house because it's not really a full-length movie. It's just a loop, just like a scene. I guess guys could buy a film canister of it. Like, I guess you could buy it. Super 8.
Super 8 and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Super 16, Super 8, whatever. They could do that, set up a projector, maybe get into some peep show thing or something.
What are the odds it gets
Manhattan.
back to me, though?
No, you could dabble in it, do a few, make $150 times 5, and then get married, move on, graduate, have a family, or do whatever. Yeah. And that would be a pretty reasonable expectation. And also, you would assume, 10 years from then, by the time you're married and expecting your first kid, and your husband's a decorated pilot for Southwest Airlines, that this isn't ever going to come back to you in any way, shape, or form. This is going to be gone, dustbin of history, right? Well, now everyone has a smartphone. Every child, forget about the United States, the world has it, and we can find you sucking dick on this little device. Anywhere we are. And it doesn't matter how obscure, it's all on there, and you can't hide, and there it is. And your new husband or your neighbors, they don't have to know, but they're probably going to know. Your kids are going to be
Well,
teenagers at some point.
You know, when I first moved to LA, I met this guy Yoshi. I don't know if you know him. He's a comic, and he was a porn editor at Evil Angel, and he gave me all these DVDs at the time. So he had Big Booty Mamas 4 and Cock Pig. Those are the two he gave me. Great titles. And I went to Dupar's Diner. That used to be in Studio City. Now it's Sephora, which I thought was a strip club. Doesn't matter. Yeah. And we were there, and I saw the two women that were in Big Booty Mama.
At Dupar.
At Dupar's having pancakes. And I thought, you know when you're sitting there, you see someone, and you're like, I know them, but where do I know them from?
Right.
And then I said, when she turned around, I go, oh, I just saw Big Booty Mama 4. and I went up there and I go, excuse me. I said, hey, I just saw you guys on Big Booty's Mama 4. I thought you were both great. Oh, thanks. Do you have a copy? We'll sign it. And it was like, I thought only in LA can you have pancakes where you're watching. And it was because Yoshi, my buddy, it gave us copies. It was like Rocco Siffredi and all those guys in that company. And that's that's Yoshi. He's hilarious. He makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And I had Big Booty Mama 4. And then the other one goes, did you see Cock Pig? I go, yeah. It was, and I can't believe I was having this
amazing double feature. Yeah.
Double feature of those two. But and adding to what you're saying, it's like, would that have happened in the 60s and 70s? No, because
no. Impossible.
There's no way that would have happened.
I mean, the expectation would be, I guess it'd be akin to like Harvey Weinstein going, 1989, I asked this chick up to my hotel room and I answered in a bathrobe and she yanked me off into a potted plant or something. And then it's like 2021 and someone like taps you on the shoulder and goes, yeah, remember that shit from the hotel from 31 years ago? Like, yeah, you're being arrested. Like that had to be, because you just get so much distance from something. Now, this isn't quite like Weinstein because this you just assume would never resurface. And could you have dreamt, like, what would the expectation be? Like if you go like I'm going in, I'm getting paid $150, it's 1970, and I'm going to blow that dude on camera. And then, well, let's just say I was her sober, pious friend.
Right.
And I go, and she said to me, the woman who's getting $150 to do the porn, give me your worst case scenario. Like, what would be the worst case? And I'd start off with, well, you'll know you did it. And they'd always go, well, fuck that. What is the worst? I don't know. If they could film it and somehow your minister could see it back in Indiana.
Right,
They'd go,
shame.
yeah, he's not. This is not. It's not. There is no danger. There is no way you could have foreseen the smartphone, the internet, everyone taking.
Or everything being brought back now. So all those films are condensed and put now into the internet where you can access almost everything, like you said, at any time.
And then at some point, some enterprising American is going to go like, oh, yeah, you know what I'm going to do with this porn star? I'm going to do a super compilation of facials. And now... This isn't just the 10 movies you've made. This is just the money shot from all the 10 movies turned into like a bad. It sort of reminds me of a bad political ad. Like they get a clip of Trump going, "It's going to be a bloodbath," and then they put sad music, and then they edit together with some Nazis marching or something like. You'd have that except for jizz in your face. Oh my God! There's just no way they could have ever. And they'll never be compensated. How are they being compensated? Like, who's compensating them?
The movie Boogie Nights, that they showed that whole, I think, era.
Right.
And then if you look at what happened to Ron Jeremy now, him and I think Gene Simmons claimed to have slept with over 10,000 women. And I thought he was up on he's in prison because of those rape charges. But the thing was, what I thought was interesting, here's a guy that was with so many women. Why would you need to? But then I think what I'm interpreting here is that are the lines blurred, like from what they did in the 70s to today? Is it something that we're looking at differently now? Because if you did porn, you have a contract, you agree to do this for X amount of dollars. And then, like you said, your pastor or a high school friend will see it eventually somewhere. Where in the 60s and 70s, I don't think they thought about it that way.
Oh,
did it? I don't think they had the knowledge to know.
Thank you. I agree with
you. Know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you're saying. I've been saying it for half an hour.
Right.
Yes.
No, I hear you. But
no, now you have to have the expectation.
Now everybody's going to see it.
Everybody wants, you got your webcam girl or whatever.
Right.
Everybody went to your high school is watching you now. I'm just saying back then you could have no possible inkling that there would be any technology. You'd be thinking like an analog way. Like you'd be like, what if Pussycat Theaters bought off all the AMC theaters and they just ran porn 24/7? Like you wouldn't be able to think in a digital internet sort of way.
But have you seen the new Instagram posts these people are putting up? So there's a girl who's jumping up and down on her chair. And it's on, and she goes, "This is what happens when you leave me alone with your dad," and all this kind of stuff, right? And she's like doing this, and then you're like, it's on Instagram, and it's like, and they have all these like, you don't see what's happening, they insinuate it, but I'm like looking at this, going, and that's what they're, on TikTok and all these things, they're putting those kind of memes or those kind of videos up. But then I'm thinking, I don't know why I keep getting these. And that's what people say to you on the phone. I don't know why I keep getting these women. And it's like, because you're looking at them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's my algorithm.
It's your algorithm. And you're trying to clean it. It's like, oh.
So what is so you go vintage porn?
I like vintage porn.
All right. No
I'm a big
judgment.
fan of vintage
All right.
porn and gilfs sometimes.
Do Chris any vintage in your past?
I
go
don't
vintage.
participate in the vintage, and like the first porn I saw was from the '80s too. So,
But you don't go back and relive the childhood.
No. I mean, look, if somebody put a Sears catalog from 1999 in front of me, who knows what'll happen? But,
Right.
some of
those were good.
Dawson, you go back to vintage?
I go all through the time periods.
Yeah.
I like them all.
Renaissance, man.
Yeah.
But the whole the whole spitting thing.
I'm not against the vintage though. I just didn't think about it.
I don't like the tats.
It is
The
neat, though.
tats are.
It is neat though when you're searching in the Pornhub and you find something that you loved at 13 and it was on a
Yeah, no,
VHS.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, holy
Exactly.
shit,
Yeah.
they have this?
Yes.
I don't watch vintage also because if it's older, like a thought will go through my head: is that person dead?
Oh,
Are they
yeah.
dead? Is she
Right.
dead? And
I've had that thought because I go vintage, and so I'm, average over under on, 60s, 70s porn stars 44 and a half. You know what I mean? They all died of syphilis before the mid 90s, So I have thought, there's a good chance that some of these people are gone. But then I thought, isn't this the ultimate tribute?
Yeah, their memory lives forever.
I hope I hope 100 years from now. I hope 100 years from now there's some young budding comedian who goes, that Carolla guy was really funny back in the day. God, the Man Show was good. And then he pulls his dick out and he just starts stroking it a little bit.
20-stroke salute.
Cranky Anchors was good too, but man, that guy did improv. He was super
improv.
quick.
He was great.
I would take that as the ultimate compliment.
Well, it is. I mean, if you think about it now, I mean, with the way technology is now, you can superimpose things, you can change things, you can do, and if you go like a lobster tube, which I go on.
What's lobster tube?
It's a site that is like, it's like the
Chris, you know what lobster?
Lobster tube is like everything, Adam. You can find everything on Lobster Tube. I don't
everything. Of what kind?
You name it. Dwarfs, gilfs, milfs,
lobsters.
Lobsters.
Lobster
it's
tube.
everything. Anything. Lobstertube.com. That's where I go. And my friend, and that's it. And I'm telling you, it's a great site because it's like shopping at Gelson's. I don't know what I'm going to look for today. I'm in this mood, So
You could get jicama or whole pig. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
It's all there.
It's all there. It's all there, and there's lots of it.
I once had like a very serious conversation with a dude where he's like, "What do you look at?" And this is like 15 years ago. I go, I look at you porn. And he goes, oh, you're not looking at you jizz? And I go, no. And he goes, oh. Well, I'd like to make a recommendation. I was like, we're having this very interesting civil conversation about you jizz, you porn. It's like, listen, at a certain point, the name is so fucking ridiculous that I don't want to go there because I don't want to say I was on you jizz, But he was saying, oh, no.
It's like he was correcting you. You're on you porn. What about you jizz?
Yeah. Me? Or, I'm saying that's a title.
Yeah, exactly. The title is like
jizz. Yeah.
That's hilarious, dude.
That's
hilarious.
I also started thinking about this too, and I'm like in a tax bracket where I don't have all day to scour the internet, but sometimes you stumble across something like from the 60s or the 70s or something. Like the thing about the vintage, or even today, like you'll stumble across somebody from back in the day, and you'll go, wow, man, where have you been my whole life? This is right in my wheelhouse. What else has she done? Like you'll the little, unearthed treasure. You know what I mean? You go, wow. And I feel like in a world where there's Grubhub, people are bringing food to your house, and everything is concierge this and concierge that. There could be a porn curator where they kind of go, okay, you like lobster jizz? All right, let me see. Let me just get a little profile going. Here's what you like. You like MILF. You like some vintage, big booty, big titty.
Yeah, you almost make it like a full course meal.
Yeah.
You can put, a couple of apps, a couple of things,
But it's also, we need to know, you vegan, you vegetarian, you vegan, when you like beef, you like chicken,
any
poultry,
allergies?
any jizz-based allergies.
Any jizz-based allergies.
And then they go, all right, I got some recommendations. And then they start, you go like, oh, I've never even saw her. Where's she been hiding my whole life?
Need like porn omakase. Just like, let me know what you're into and we'll give you something.
Right.
I like the Eastern European ones because
everyone likes those.
You don't really know what they're saying, but they're so hot.
Yeah.
Women are so hot in Eastern European, Czech and Romanian and Bulgarian and Hungary. And it's just like, it doesn't matter, right? And sleepovers. I always like the one where, we're at the hotel room and there's only one bed. I'm like, I'm there, man. I go, that never happened to me. I always like that. Okay. I'm like your step aunt, and we'll share the bed, and of course he pops a rod, and then, we know.
So you like a theme?
I like a theme. I like a bit of a story.
Yeah.
I do like the story. I like the sleepovers. I like that one. I always like the one where she's like bent over looking in the engine like she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And some dude shows up and, I think it's your cam shot. Pulls it out and then all of a sudden they're going at it, But I like a little story, Adam. It's, to make it, theme.
Yeah.
Theme porn.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never thought. I'm not a theme guy. I mean, that's not that big, but I do like the vintagey stuff. And I think the reason I like the vintage stuff, when you guys tell me, they looked like civilians back in the day.
People.
They were like real people. They did not look like porn stars with all the ass filler and all the things that go along. They just look like civilians who got roped into porn.
Well, it looked like you had a chance to have sex with one of them. So, I mean, watching it then was more realistic, where now it's like, you're right, it's all their tight waist, big butt, this and that, lips, and all these things.
You know what I would watch if somebody wanted to do this? I would go to a site called My First Porn, and it was only the first porn the chicks ever did.
It's actually a good name.
It's a good name, right?
It's a good name. You should lock it down, Adam.
All rookie year.
No, you know what? Think about it.
Because later on, they got fucked up and drugged up and juiced up and became porn stars. But the first one,
I'd watch it.
Yeah. That would be a nice starter kit to get for your daughter, too. Yeah.
Welcome to myfirstporn.com. It's like, I bet you someone has it out there.
I would watch it. And I'll also, I don't know if you guys ever do this. Do you guys ever do any, like, non-porn legwork where, like, you'll see some chick in some vintage porn,
right?
And you'll go, who is this person in this vintage porn? And then you'll go, oh, and I'll like read about them. Like some of them are like weird stories. Like, oh, she was born in Israel. And then
I've done that.
She moved to London when she was 18 and started modeling, and
I like to know
now
that stuff.
she works in communications,
DNA field microbiologist.
Right, yeah, like they just kind of, I'm always kind of going like, well, I wonder what this person's porn trajectory was. Like, born in Israel, that's kind of weird, and then moved to London and then started modeling, at 18 and eventually whatever. And then at some point they retire, but then they always come back. They're like Cher.
My brother was an actor in Montreal, and he had a company, and they bought this company at him that was making porn in Montreal. And the guys were going on a receivership.
Wait, not an acting company.
No, a production company.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother Mike, true story, had to take it over. He had to finish these 2 films. Mm-hmm. And the one scene was, and I actually, I'll admit it here on your show, I did some ADR work on it. I did ADR on a porn, true story. And the scene was, she has the guy's dick in her hand, and the line is "talks cheap," and she starts blowing him.
Right.
And because of her French accent, she's like, "talks cheaps," and my brother, cut. He goes, "It's talks cheap." Okay, Mike, it's talks cheap. Okay, roll it, sound, action. She looks like talks cheaps. And she goes back at my brother he goes, stop it. He goes, what's wrong with you? She goes, hey, Mike, you pay me to suck dick, not to talk English. Wow. True story. And we had to I did ADR on this porn. I don't know what it's called. And it was in Montreal, and they had to finish the 2 films to get the money from the other company up in Canada. And there's other people there, and talks cheaps. And my other friend was a comic. Every time I come, I say talks cheaps. and that actually happened.
Was your ADR like, come on, son,
yeah,
baby.
it was like, no, because there was a scene where they had a priest. And and the priest was preaching, and I had to come out there, suck thy royal scepter. They got all this kind of stuff. I can't remember the dialogue, and the guy goes, well, you can't do it, man. He goes, and you do it. You have a good voice. You do it. So I did ADR. It was probably my first ADR work was on a porn.
Wow.
And I can't remember the name of it, but it's but that actually happened. So it's funny, but my brother, the guy, okay, what the fuck will say it? The guy couldn't do the cum shot.
Oh, that's where
and my
you
brother
stepped in.
needed it. So what he did,
he needed it.
He needed it. So he took a little bottle with glue and water.
Oh, don't ruin this for me.
and they're pretending that she's going at it. And my brother was like, okay, put it on, shot it all over, and that actually happened. And he goes, okay, we got to finish this film. But my brother was all business. He wasn't even perverted about it. He's like, I got to finish these fucking films. And he goes, you need to do ADR. I need to get the cum shot because this guy can't. He goes, you have a big dick, but you don't know how to use it. So my brother was just business.
Yeah.
And he goes, he got him finished. So my little interlude with porn was, and he goes, I need you to do the ADR for it. And so my name is under some Bobby Batkiss or
Your
something.
dad's, your brother. He's quite the leader, this guy.
He is.
Respect.
Listen, if you have a questionable hog, like you're a male porn star and you don't know if you can bust a nut, you got to bring your own jizz.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
That's
think
not
about
for.
it. True.
I don't want to run to craft service and grab a bunch of ranch. This is for you to bring.
I mean, he could not. The guy couldn't bust a nut. And my brother's angry. Like he goes, well, hey, you got a big poots on, but you're not using it.
Yeah, it's not going to help getting yelled at.
No, but we're yelling at him.
Can't
He goes,
perform like this.
But he goes, I'm paying this guy good money. He should be able to do it.
It's still not going to help.
True. That's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
ADR and porn.
You have a therapist on
ADR
set.
and porn.
I did ADR and porn. True story.
It sounds like something your agent would threaten you with. Like if you go, Murray, I'm leaving. Oh, really? You're going to leave me? Well, you know what you're going to be doing in 5 years? ADR and porn, okay?
Too late. I've already done it.
All right. We got some news.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. We'll do that right after this. Let me tell you about Mood. You want to be creative? Yes, I feel that way. You want to be productive and creative. You want a little bit of that high. Mood, known for federally legal THC, is adding their most potent product yet to their lineup. Hemp-based THCA flower, the future of legal THC. For a limited time, Mood is giving my listeners a free THCA pre-roll and 20% off your first order. Just visit hellomood.com and use the code ADAM. Different strains for specific moods, from euphoric to energized, creative to chill. That's right. Depending on what kind of mood you're in, that's the specific strain. That's right. I'm mostly into the chill strain. Great for both beginner and veteran users. However you take THC, Mood has you covered. Gummies, classic flower, convenient pre-roll, and more. It's Mood, right, Dawson?
Try Mood's new THCA flower today. For a limited time, get 20% off your first order and a free THCA pre-roll. Just go to hellomood.com and use promo code ADAM. That's hellomood.com, code ADAM for 20% off your order and a free THCA pre-roll.
Morgan and Morgan, it's 2024. Let's talk about something important. If you get hurt this year and you're injured, well, your injury could be worth millions of dollars. And if you're ever injured, you should check out my friends at Morgan and Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. More than $20 billion with a B, $20 billion recovered for over 500,000 clients over the years. Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you the full and fair compensation you deserve. They've been fighting for the people for over 35 years. Racing my vintage cars, well, that can be a little bit hard. Oh, yeah. But submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy. Am I right, Dawson?
If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Adam or dial pound law, pound 529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/Adam or pound law, pound 529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement. It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hi, Adam. I couldn't wait to call and tell you when my husband said that the new CEO at the largest steel company in America went to Amherst College, supposedly, or maybe he's a fan of your show, and he's just saying he went to Amherst because he knows there'll be no follow-up questions. Have a great day.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Yeah, that was my thing. I want to save money with college and my kids and stuff, and I got instead of spending all the money and getting your fucking head scrambled, just say you went to Amherst. People will leave you alone.
Then they don't bother you.
Well, you're gonna have to pick out one hall. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because in case of, by chance you run into somebody who went or knows or something, and then so you go, oh yeah, I was in Bradbury Hall. That's where my dorm was in Bradbury. You know, and whatever, and we'd meet in Union. Throw a couple things. Find one pizza place that was
just
near.
say that's common.
That was near there. Yeah, we should go there Fridays, get pictures. It's pretty cool. And that's about it. You'll be done. Everyone will be impressed. They'll have no more questions. Sorry. What do you got, Max, about it?
So speaking of performers making a comeback, Neil Young. So remember in January of 2022, he published that open letter saying he's going to pull his music from Spotify because of the Joe Rogan deal.
Oh, he was going to do it too.
The spread of vaccine misinformation. He did do it.
Oh, sorry, puss. Wait, you're talking about... Oh, wait a minute.
This is in 2022. He published an open letter asking...
Oh, I'm sorry. I screwed up. When you said Neil Young, I heard Neil Diamond, and I was like, what the... But yeah, Neil Young.
Yeah, so Neil Young. So and other artists did it too. A reminder: Joni Mitchell, Crosby, Stills and Nash.
All the fucking pussies from the past who used to fight against the man, now they all work for Pfizer and Upjohn or something. Now they're all big vax. They're big pharma people now. By the way, what was Joe wrong about any of this shit? That's the part they never really follow up on.
Right, I would put money that they didn't even do research on that.
No, they didn't.
Neil Young has said, "I'm going to restore my music to the service now." He put out a statement says, "Look, I can't just leave Apple and Amazon like I did Spotify because my music could have very little streaming outlet to music lovers at all. So I've returned to Spotify in sincere hopes that Spotify sound quality will improve and people will be able to hear and feel all the music as we made it." Did not
Well,
mention
there you go.
Joe Rogan.
Rebel pussy. Now the rebel pussy is back. All right. And by the way, these are, again, it's all the people who fought against the Vietnam War and fought against the man and fought against big government and big pharma, and you fucking sellout retards are all back.
Yeah,
That's
Wrote
fun.
the song Ohio.
Yeah, that's right. For Dead in Ohio.
Well, the song, remember, Born to Live on Sugar Mountain.
Yeah.
He needs more sugar.
Yeah, all right, Neil. Well, good. You're sellout.
Well,
Hypocrite. Good.
Billboard estimated that the absence of his catalog on Spotify would cost him about $300,000.
Yeah.
So,
well,
he's back now.
Now he's
so
a sellout.
Welcome back, Neil.
Good, Neil. Thanks for selling out, but we're glad you're back. Good for you.
All right.
Fucking idiot. Fucking idiots. Everyone's a fucking idiot. Listen, you can have all the
it's all
beef
coming back, though.
you
We're
want
all
with-
coming back to
have beef with
peace.
whoever you want, but you got to say, what were all the people that you yelled at wrong about? Was it the 6 foot distancing? Was it how effective masks were? What is it? What were they wrong about? They never want to get into that.
Yeah. I predict in about 2 years we'll be listening to Neil Young on Spotify while getting drinks on a Southwest flight to Vegas.
That's
it's gonna
right.
be a wonderful time.
Watching a porn I did ADR on.
Yeah,
That's right.
On lobster jizz.
Also, you won't. We don't know the name of the porn, so every time I watch a porn, I'm going to have to think. Wait a minute, is that Angelo?
I know. Any ADR that I hear, I'm going to assume it's you.
Well, you're not supposed to hear ADR. That's the
know.
whole
Yeah, it's
point.
like-
So it's
You
any
did a good
dialogue
job.
where the guy's mouth isn't moving, and I'm going to think it's Angelo.
Yeah.
My voice is on there, yeah.
Was it like French replacement? Was it English
Yeah,
replacement
it
dialogue?
was French
Okay.
replacement. So,
Okay.
because they had to do it in English, but they
Right.
tried to get the actor to do it in English, but it
Okay.
didn't sound the same.
Okay,
so.
now after the dialogue
Right.
was replaced, what else did you replace?
The
Did you
dialogue.
get-
I
did you get
volunteered,
the-
but there was no takers.
No, but did you get the? Did they switch back to the original actor?
They
for
went back to the
grunts
actor.
and
Ooh,
the S?
oui,
Okay, so they did
monsieur,
that.
c'est ça, oui.
Okay.
You know, that kind of stuff. But it was not, no, I was just basically the preacher.
You know, some of those vintage porns, when it comes to ADR, this is a weird thing. It's obviously, it looks like an Italian porn because they have that Italian porn look, but then it's overdubbed in Italian. Have you seen those?
Right, yeah.
Maybe.
A little strange.
Trying to think. But yeah, the European vintage stuff is pretty good because it's classy. And
Yeah.
here, when we shoot a porn, I've been on porn set here. Here, it's like Luan Flats. That'd be a good name for that'd be a good porn name for
That's
me.
a good name,
Gay
Luan
porn, you're
Flats.
working with Luan Flats. You know, just shit. It's supposed to be, they're shooting some shitty apartment in Reseda or something. In Europe, they shoot porns in castles. Like they're actually fucking take over a castle and shoot the porn. I mean, it's lavish shit.
Have
So
you ever
it's
seen a porn, Adam, where you're looking at the room and you're like, I've stayed in that room at the Marriott. You know, it's like, I know the room. It's like, because a lot of those rooms you could tell by the furniture in the background. If it's like a Sheraton or a Marriott or, you know, something like that. You know.
Now, but castle porn is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's good. Castle porn.
All right. So he's back.
Well, speaking of Europe, so the Paris Olympics, 2024 Paris Olympics, they've announced that they're handing out 300,000 condoms after lifting an intimacy ban for athletes. Mm-hmm. Right. So they said it's very important that we get them these, and it reverses a policy from the 2020 Olympics. Although condoms were handed out during the Tokyo Games, officials placed an intimacy ban on athletes due to the COVID pandemic.
I'd be funny with those condoms because I'd have the basket of condoms. And when I saw the black boxers coming, like from America, I'd be like, here you go, here you go, take a handful.
here you go.
And then all of a sudden, like the female power lifters would start going, you guys are good. You're good.
You're
We're
okay.
good. We're okay. We're okay. Who else we got? Oh, that guy. We do the 100. You do the hurdles. 220. Yeah, come here. Yeah, here. Let me stuff some condoms in your pocket. This is the female water polo team. Yeah, you guys keep walking. We're good. We're good. You're not getting no condoms.
I had a
We're gonna
friend.
save condoms.
I had a friend who played for the Canadian Olympic team in Lillehammer. And the condoms, they were humping so much, clogged up the drains, and they had plumbing issues at the village. Yeah. They had plumbing issues because they were flushing the condoms, which you're not supposed to.
Down the toilet.
Down the toilet. It was plugging up their, up in Norway, I guess they don't have good plumbing.
Yeah. I never put them in the toilet. I put a little Tabasco in them.
Right.
I tie them in a knot, and I just put it right in the bathroom. Put it right in the trash can there at the bathroom.
Why the Tabasco?
I don't want the ladies stealing my seed, you know.
Right out of Drake's playbook.
okay.
And Drake. Oh, I taught it to Drake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They take that seed. You know.
I thought once it's out, is it still?
For a while.
It is.
Yeah.
I was always. I mean, I'm not a.
I think it has like a 24-hour. Is that too long? You think 24-hour life?
Because you hear
cycle?
those stories, right? Or
Listen, when you do in vitro, they go, if you live further than 25 minutes from this facility, you got to come and do it in-house.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is bullshit.
Right.
I'm sure they just want to hear you beat up.
So there's no more social distancing now at the Olympics.
Right.
Fitting in France, of course.
Right.
Yeah, you're in
So
the
hump
city
away.
of love.
Yeah, hump away.
I know. Any shame for anybody whose packets are unopened at the end of the games?
Well, like I said, I can tell you who's going to open their packets
Right.
and who isn't going to open their packets. You know, I'll figure that out.
That
But,
makes sense.
Well,
track and field guys are opening their packets
For sure.
That's for sure.
Women's shot put, maybe
Women's
not.
shot put, not so much.
Maybe
We
not
don't
so
need,
much.
we need a package for that. Anything,
Shot put.
Anyone's doing the squats or the
Discus.
clean and jerk,
Yeah.
discus. Yeah, we don't. No condoms for you.
Now, pole vaulter, give her 2.
All the water sports ones for sure. We'll use them. Most of them.
There's a big shoulder thing.
Yeah.
Male swimmers will use them.
When
Yeah,
girls
yeah.
swim that much, they do get the big. I don't know.
pole vaulters are hot,
Maybe
man.
pole vaulters
Pole
they don't
vaulted.
want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're always hot.
Look good.
Yeah.
So, speaking of condoms, Olivia Rodrigo, so she did a concert in Missouri, and they passed out a bunch of condoms and contraceptives, and they announced that they're no longer doing that anymore because
She
of the
got-
backlash.
She's handing out condoms and like Plan B or
Yeah.
something, and I think people are like, I got an 11-year-old.
That's why they're like,
really
oh
want-
yeah, there are kids here. Maybe we shouldn't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I can understand
no longer-
why, though.
Huh?
I can understand why in one sense, but if the kids are that young, though,
Right.
no, that doesn't make sense.
That was the point. Like, look, we're trying to make a statement. We want to give this because Missouri is one of the states that
Oh, they're making a statement.
they're making a statement
Right.
too,
Okay.
of course.
All right.
And but yeah, so they've announced that they are no longer going to be doing it because of the children are present at the concerts. It's a bad look.
Why don't
But
they hang out Twinkies?
that would help too. But the abortion organizations, like the pro abortion organizations, well, not pro abortion, but they're against it. They're saying like, look, kids have sex too. They should still be handing these things out, and like lube and whatever.
They're against her canceling it.
Canceling. Yeah, they're upset.
They're not
when-
against it. They're against
Yes, they're
her stopping.
Right. They wanted to continue doing this. So
I don't know. How much of any of this makes a difference? You know what I mean? Like, is there anyone? Look, I'll put it to you this way: is there anyone who wants a condom who can't get their hands on a condom? Anyone who would use one who can't get their hands on it? And is there any black person who wants to vote but can't find an ID in our society? Do these people exist? We argue over and over and over about these two groups. I don't really think they exist. I think people who want condoms and use condoms get condoms, and
find
those
them.
who don't use condoms don't use condoms, no matter how many condoms you hand them.
Right. You can find them, I think, now.
I remember
If
the
they
first
were-
time I bought condoms. It was at a gas station, and the guy, the attendant, stopped me and he said, "Look, you can get these at the 99-cent store. What are you doing here?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The 99 cents,
Yeah.
like with a drawstring
I
made out
don't
of
know.
cat
I
gut.
didn't ask for details. I still bought
Wow.
them there.
He's not
I
still
was in
your
a rush.
mentor.
Mr. Miyagi over at the Chevron, passing on some wisdom.
Yeah.
What you want to do is go to the Dollar Tree.
Life
right.
pro tip. So the Philadelphia Phillies, they have announced that they are ending their popular promotion of $1 hot dogs. Dollar hot dog night. They did this. First, they originally did it 3 times a year. Then they said, look, we're going to do this twice a year, and people got really mad. But now they decided we're not doing it anymore due to unruly fan behavior. They were throwing them on the field. They were throwing them at each other. Just big old food fights every time they had dollar hot dog night. So they announced it's no longer happening.
We're animals now, and we can no longer have things. Do you know what I mean? Like we go. I always say it, like, can't drink beer out of a glass bottle because someone would throw it on the field and hit somebody, break it over someone's head, So now you have to do, everything is completely dumbed down 100% because we can't control ourselves and we don't know how to act anymore.
But it's also Philadelphia.
Well, that's.
I mean, any sport.
It's the tip of the spear is Philadelphia.
Yeah, everything there is a brawl. It doesn't matter if it's the Flyers or the Sixers or the
Eagles.
It's a brawl.
Philly fans are my favorite sports fans just because they're so unpredictable. And remember, they Crisco the light poles.
That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes I'll walk around and you walk by some cafe or some restaurant at night, and you see that they have outdoor furniture, but it's all chained up, and I'll go, yeah, it's sad. Yeah. It's sad that somebody has to chain up their outdoor patio furniture at their bistro because it would immediately get stolen. You know what I mean? It's sad that there's in Los Angeles, there's barbed wire around every freeway sign.
Yeah.
Sad. This is sad. We can't have things or do things. You can't do this stuff anymore. It's like it's sad. Oh, they can't drop a package off on the front porch because there's porch pirates. I mean, they just had a story. Man, I think it was out of one of these crumbling civilizations like Seattle or Portland or something like that. But the fun part is we get to watch what happens to civilization when they are not ruled properly, and then they just watch them undone. And Dawson, you can find it. Or maybe it's D.C., Maryland. The cops basically said, look, keep your key fob by your car, keep by the front door. And because people are breaking in and they're stealing cars.
It's in Canada.
Oh, shit. Worse, because Canada's got, I always say Canada's about 5 years ahead of California in terms of falling apart. Like
you're right. It's I can speak as a Canadian. They're telling people now to even leave him in the car. And the guy, I don't know if you saw it the other day, they had an air tag in this car. They followed the car. They got to, it was on the rail yard. They were taking it to Montreal. It was getting on a ship, and they told them the car is there. And they said, you're trespassing. You're not allowed to go inside, but that's my car with the fucking air tag.
Right.
And I was in San Francisco on the weekend doing shows, and I'm at the Grand Hyatt. I walked 30 feet outside of the hotel, Adam. I had a cigar 30 feet away, and this guy goes, excuse me. He says, cigar smoke, you're not allowed to smoke here. I go, I checked the sign. It said, you got to be 25 feet away. I'm 30 feet away. Thank you. And I went back. He goes, no, I don't think you're listening to me. I go, hey, buddy. I said, I'm having a fucking cigar. I go, there's people shitting on the streets and stealing in all your stores, and you're going to draw the line with a fat guy having a stogie.
I'm not the problem.
What's the problem here? And then people are like, well, you're being unreasonable. I go, wait a second. I'm actually obeying the law. And in Canada, what's happened, it's the same as California, where steal, shoplift, leave your keys in the car. One of my best friends in Ottawa bought a new 7 Series BMW, went to bed, woke up, 5 cars on the street were gone.
Right.
They're just taking them. And it's such an epidemic that Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, went into Parliament and said, guys, just leave your cars open.
Yeah, right.
Is this? And the insurance companies are going, are you fucking crazy?
Well, Trudeau's 5 years ahead of Gavin Newsom in terms of pussy, horrible.
Mussolini, yeah.
Yes, like literally. And by the way, if you're a criminal, fine, no problemo. If you want to smoke a cigar, we got big fucking problems with you.
But yeah, that's where they draw the line, Adam. And I'm like, and I said to the guy, first of all, mind your business. I said, I saw a guy walking out of a Walgreens. They're shutting them all down, Nordstrom's. I said, there's people taking dumps in the street. Fine. Socioeconomics, I get it. But I'm actually sitting here not bothering you. And you're why don't you go over and say something to these people?
Who was saying this to you?
Some guy in a backpack. He looked like one of these granola fucking eating kale people. And I was like, you know what? I said, buddy, I'm just having a cigar. Fuck off. I mean, because to me, it's like I'm obeying the law.
Yeah.
I'm right where I'm supposed to be. But
there shouldn't even be a law. The law should just be fucking smoke a cigar if you want to smoke a cigar.
A cigar I bought at a shop in San Francisco.
They don't, I think in Glendale, if you have a smoke shop, they will not let you smoke a cigar inside of the cigar shop.
I think Glendale, Calabasas, I think Burbank.
Burbank, you can't even smoke outside.
Oh, Burbank. Maybe Burbank it is.
LA, you can still smoke. You know.
I always smoke in Burbank.
All right, Dawson.
Yeah, Burbank has them too.
Will you make a special trip to Burbank to smoke?
Just to go smoke.
All right. The whole point is you're clamping down on taxpayers and turning a blind eye to criminals, and that's
right.
That's progressive. Progressive politics are come down super hard on taxpayers, overregulate the shit out of them, and leave the criminals alone. That's a Trudeau thing, and it's a Newsom thing. And Canada's fucked with Trudeau. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with Trudeau. Are they?
I don't know what they're going to do now.
When's he coming up?
It's a minority government because he doesn't have the majority. Jasmeet Singh is the head of the NDP. If he sees he can get the seats, I think Pierre Poilievre will be the next Prime Minister of Canada. And look, it's not. His father was a different story. He was one of the most honored, famous Prime Ministers of Canada. And if you understand politics in Canada, which is slight left, slight right. It's not like America, but he's turned it into a shit show. And healthcare, although my friend Russell Peters says a funny joke about California. He goes, California, he says, is Canada now without the healthcare.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so true. And it's true because my mom's trying to get an appointment now. It takes an MRI takes 11 months.
I know.
You know, and all this stuff that's going on. And then
I know. And what we do is we go, everyone with socialized medicine. Go, Canada, they got free medicine over there. It's like, you got to wait in line.
All my friends who have money in Canada between November and April are in Florida or Arizona. All the ones with cash are not even staying in Canada. And don't get me wrong, I'm not crapping on Canada. It's my country and I love it. But at the same time, they fucked it up.
Yes,
they really fucked it up.
That's
they really
policy.
did, man. You know, and we can't win a Stanley Cup, so there's a lot of anger there.
You're losing to Florida all the time.
Yeah, the fucking Vegas. Vegas wins the Stanley Cup.
The hottest.
They don't appreciate it.
They can't. There's no ice anywhere in Vegas except for in a casino. Jesus Christ.
It's so true.
So true.
So that we're angry about that.
See that news report in Toronto about them like leaving the key fobs.
Oh
at
yeah.
At the front door. Here it is.
Yeah.
And you know, Chris, they have to do that now because they're going to smash them in, and they're just taking the cars.
Yeah.
And they put the air tags in them, and they see the guy. They're at the yard where they saw the car on the rail car going on a ship, and they could not do a thing about it.
Oh, we'll run that. We got the clip.
So just take it.
Well, here's Toronto police talking about it.
There's also updated advice for all vehicle owners, a message echoed by Toronto police speaking at an Etobicoke safety meeting last month. Constable Marco Ricciardi had a new message for vehicle owners who keep their fobs in Faraday pouches.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns. They're loaded.
Guns. That's why Galinsky says they will be installing the door stops and taking YPR's advice seriously. But she'd like more action from police as well.
Wow, there you go.
They ban guns in Canada. Are fobs upset about this now? Fobs?
I don't know.
Right? Because you leave your fobs at the door, you know? So it's like, somebody's going to be upset about that.
They ban guns in Canada, but some people have guns.
But the ones that have them are the ones taking your fucking car.
That's right. That's how they like it.
Welcome to Canada, eh?
Well, in San Francisco, where they're encouraged to roll down their windows and just or like put signs like, "There's nothing in here. Please don't smash our windows in."
Yeah. How about some policy? Wouldn't that be nice?
How about
But here's the thing about Canadians. So I'm from California. We just vote Democrat. We don't care. We'll vote Newsom in 10,000 times. The same people will be talking about moving to Florida or Nashville or Nevada and taxes and fucking crime and homelessness or whatever. When it comes time to vote, those go, who's the next Newsom? I'll vote for him. Right. So we can't change. But can Canada change?
Well, yeah, because Canada traditionally goes... Because the socialist policies are already there, right? So you go slight left or slight right because you're not going to change the taxation system and you're not going to change socialized medicine. But the thing now, I think most Canadians now, I imagine, are going to go more to the right. Pierre Poilievre, I think, is going to be the next Prime Minister of Canada because of these policies. And even the people, the moderates at them, the ones in the middle that can't decide are saying, wait a second, I have kids. I can't buy a car every 2 weeks. All this shit's happening. And you said it right, policy. Some fucking policy. I mean, I think most people who have families and work and pay taxes just want to have some order in their life. You can't keep waking up when your car is gone, you know?
Yeah. And what's the big market? They taking them overseas?
They're putting them in the
container ships.
Container ships, and they're going to like the Middle East, Dubai, Africa. When I was in Toronto, I did a show last month. I said, before the show, I came out and I said, I have an announcement to make. I said, whoever has a black BMW license plate ONT 678, your car's in Nigeria. So I just kind of like.
Well, we're getting back to hot dog night in Philly, which is
horrible.
The left thinks that human nature is generally good, and if we just sort of step back and treat people with dignity, a lot of this crime's going to stop. You know what I mean? And they have this false thing that like people commit crime because they're poor. They don't really do the part where they go, they're criminals. There's a lot of poor people. I grew up poor. Everyone I knew was poor, but we weren't criminals. We were just poor. Right. So they do this thing where it's like if you just step back and we defund the police a little and we have community ambassadors instead of cops or whatever it is, then this is going to work its way out. Sort of nature's going to take its course. It fucking doesn't. We're animals. It turns into Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah. Learn your lessons, idiots, and change course is what I'm saying. Or we're just going to end up like Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, LA, like this. Listen, when you're making declarations of, hey, you probably shouldn't go out with your Rolex watch, and if you do drive home and you drive a nice car, you may want to circle the block once and make sure when you leave the key fob by the front door, or actually just hang it on the front door like a mezuzah. Yeah, just take it and put it on the door jamb so that the Jews and the who's not stealing your cars, but anyway, when we're doing that, somebody stop and go, do you realize what we're saying?
Yeah.
Do you realize when that bitch is up there blaming Toyota for making catalytic converters too easy to steal, stop and go, do you realize what you sound like? We're sounding insane now. We're going to have to do some policy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no policy. And think about hot dog night. $1 hot dog. You go to Costco. It's the cheapest date you can have, right?
Yeah.
I'll take my wife going, it's on me. 2 hot dogs, generous. 2 sodas, with tax, $3.18.
Amazing.
It's great. I think the idea of the $1 hot dog is that again, we talked about vintage, we talked about going back, where you can go to the ballpark with your kids, have a soda and a hot dog for a couple of bucks, and enjoy the ball game.
Well, the hot dog's $1 and the beer's $19.21.
Of course.
All right. Let's see. Our next guest is queued up and waiting. Are we saying goodbye to Angelo?
Yeah.
Angelo.
Yes.
Let me spell this out so people know where to go for live dates. TSAROUCHAS.com
or funnygreek.com.
Or funnygreek.com.
Funnygreek.com, that's easier.
Funnygreek.com, and then there's Jizz Lobster.
Jizz Lobster. Yeah, so I'm in Bridgeport, and then I'm in New Brunswick, and I'm going to Las Vegas for the last week at Harry's Club at the Laugh Factory with Jamie Kennedy, and then I'll be in Edmonton, Canada, if they don't steal my car. I'm at the comic strip at the West Edmonton Mall up in Edmonton, 28th to the 31st of March.
All right, we'll talk to Aleks Paunovic. I hope I said that. Paunovic, sorry. Oh, it's Paunovic. Somebody wrote it phonetically on my screen, and it seems different.
Get it right, man.
Yeah, sorry. It's Paunovic. Oh, so somebody wrote P-O-N-A-Vich.
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
All right. Well, thanks, Byron. All right. If that was
Fire
Byron.
that kid.
I'm firing that kid, Alex. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come right back with Alex right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Well, they're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly offers friendly, helpful service and parts and knowledge you need to do all your own maintenance and repairs. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in store or online, so you never have to worry. If you're in a jam, they'll help you out. When you're a do-it-yourselfer and need a specialty tool to finish the job, well, stop by O'Reilly and ask for one of their loaner tool programs, because there's a lot of real special tools when it comes to doing certain jobs on cars. Simply pay a refundable deposit and borrow the right tool, then get the deposit back when it's returned, so it's free. They'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help. Plus, they can test your battery for free, in or out of the car, so you don't have to pop it out. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto, and you can find what you need in the store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, Tarpon Springs, Florida. A 27-year-old man was charged with battery after hitting a Circle K cashier in the head with a chocolate Easter egg. Definitely not a Jew.
Aleks Paunovic has joined us. The Silent Service is the name of the Amazon original film, streaming now, and it'll be released worldwide on February 9th.
It was released worldwide.
We're past that.
Yeah.
So it's out everywhere. You see.
First Japanese original movie on Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Filmed in Japan.
Oh, well, tell us about it, Alex. Oh, no.
Well, it was originally a hit in the 80s as a manga show. And so manga is obviously huge, and they've had quite a following with this project in the manga world, and they decided to do a live action. And it was a blast to shoot, going over to Tokyo and having a totally different experience than in North America. Very respectful culture. They called me Godzilla a lot, which was jarring. I'm 6'5", so they all carried apple boxes so they could do my hair and makeup.
Wow.
Just made me feel like more of a freak.
I was looking down on your sizable list of hits, Hawkeye and amongst others, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. But I was looking at Most Dangerous Game with Christoph Waltz, and then I realized my buddy Nick Santora, I think, wrote that. And then I looked next, and I see Fubar, and I said, my buddy Nick Santora wrote that. And then I went, he must have some connection. Nick must like working with you if he's writing these things and keeps putting you in them.
Listen, man, I'm super thankful for that, man. We still have not met in person, but I did Most Dangerous Games, and then he liked my work and then offered me Fubar, and I'm working on another project of his right now. So I still haven't met him. I can't wait to buy him a dinner because he's paying my mortgage. So he's a good man.
He is a great writer, a great dude. Really good. I mean, obviously, he writes the action stuff real well, Prison Break and all the stuff he's done, but he's real funny, too, which a lot of action guys aren't. And that's why there's a ton of comedy in his action. And just the best all-round dude you're ever going to hang out with. So
honestly, I can't wait to meet him. And that's all everyone says is how great he is. Can't wait for you to meet him. He gave me I'll tell you my FUBAR story real quick because it was quite embarrassing. Because it's Schwarzenegger. I mean, I've been a fan of Schwarzenegger since Pumping Iron back in the day, and everything that he's done. So I got a little fangirly when I got on set, and I was like, I realized when I got on set for Wardrobe, that was his last day for the season. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to meet him. Like he's right there. I want to be able to meet him. And so I asked the AD, I was like, hey man, if there's a chance that I could just say hi to him, that would be great. Oh, let me ask. And he, 15 feet away, and I'm kind of kicking stones, just hoping he'd look over and give me like a thumbs up. And then and he looks over and he waves me towards it. I'm like, oh man, this is great. So I finally get to meet him. I shake his hand. I go, thank you so much for having me on the show. I loved you. I love Pumping You. I loved I love Pumping Iron. I love Terminator. He goes, whoa. I go, what? He goes, you love Pumping Me. I went, no. I love Pumping Iron. And he just grabbed my arm and he said, I don't go that way. And he walked away laughing. And he just left me there, like wanting to swallow the words back and go, I can't believe I just said I wanted to pump him. And that was my interaction with Schwarzenegger.
Did you used to box, right? You were a champion boxer?
Yeah. I was an amateur champion boxer in Canada here, yeah.
Heavyweight, obviously, I guess it's 6'5".
Yeah.
Any thoughts about turning pro?
I had a ton of thoughts about turning pro, but I just didn't want to get smacked around like that and have that the focal point. My thing was my dad and I never really got along, and I have 3 generations of boxers in my family, so I kind of learned that way through the family. But I absolutely loved it, even though my dad and I never really got along. So if I kept up the boxing, it meant he was always around. And then I got into music. I started playing music in a band just because he wasn't interested in it. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And so I toured all over Canada and just had a pretty fun career playing music. And then while I was on stage playing, a casting director talked to me afterwards and asked if I would audition for a movie. I said yes. And it was Ed Asner, Roddy McDowell. I didn't even know these people at the time. I just said yes. And then I found out what my role was. I was Roddy McDowell's butler, and they were putting these 3 scratches on my face. I'm like, and again, I'm new. I'm like, so what is this all about? And they makeup started laughing and said, oh, you don't know what those scratches are for? I went, no. Well, it's basically insinuate. So basically my only line in the thing was, these dogs are built for comfort. So Roddy McDowell goes, these dogs are built for speed. They're built for comfort. And they're Greyhound dogs. And he looks to me, isn't that right, Roderick? And I'm supposed to touch my scars and say they're built for comfort. And it's insinuated that I fuck these Greyhound dogs.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, no one told me this. So the only real reason why I continued acting was because I didn't want to be known as the dog fucker through my whole 1 gig career. So I just kind of kept at it.
So what, do you have kids, by the way?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I'll vent for a second. I talk to a lot of people that go, my dad was a hard ass, but he loved fishing, and I didn't like fishing, but I would take up fishing so I could spend time with my dad, or I'd spend time in the boxing gym because my dad, I don't get an ounce of that from my kids. They're not doing anything they don't want to do to hang out with their old man. I don't know what happened from a generational standpoint, but kids aren't proving it anymore. You got to prove it to them. It's not like my son has picked up a bunch of shit that I like so he can hang out with me.
Yeah, you have to take an interest in fantasy football to hang out with him.
That's what I'm saying. But you felt like you needed to box because your old man boxed and he took an interest in that, right?
Well, no, it was more like I couldn't get away from it. I love boxing. I'm like, I know everything about boxing. And I just because of our relationship, I just love doing it. Like when I played my band or when I was back home, I would kind of sneak off to other gyms to box, and hopefully he didn't find out, because then he would get really upset. I just loved it. But if I did it in a professional level, he would have to be there, and I knew that was going to be the thing. But I still box. I just love it. I just love going to the gym and boxing.
So are you a bit of a historian? Do you know a lot about the heavyweight division and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, especially from the 70s and 80s. I was a huge Muhammad Ali fan, and I got to meet the man in 2007, which was a huge thing. But yeah, I know a lot about boxing, and I was just doing a film where the director is a huge boxing historian, and he didn't believe that I was, and so he started throwing these obscure fights at me from the 80s, and I knew all of them, and I was like, oh, this is great. This is great test.
Well, now we can test. So we had Mitch Blood Green in here yesterday.
Totally Mitch Blood Green. He got popped by Tyson, got his big goose egg on his eye, and in a street fight with Mike Tyson.
Not according to Mitch. Just kidding.
Mitch has a totally different story. I know that.
I'll just say, based on my interview with Mitch Blood Green, I think you made the right choice to not get smacked in the head for a living. That would be my number one takeaway from that.
Thank you.
I love boxing. I used to be a boxing trainer, and I love all the weird history of it as well. Mike Tyson's also like a boxing historian.
He would go through all of Customato's videos after every training session. I love his knowledge for the game back in the day, especially even the 1930s stuff that he was taking in was crazy. But you were a boxing trainer? I had no idea. That never comes up.
No, I was. I worked at a place called Bodies in Motion. I taught secretaries and doctors and stuff to box, but I was a boxing coach, and I was a pretty good boxing coach because Mike Weaver was one of the guys I worked with, who you probably remember if you're a historian.
I totally know Mike Weaver, yeah.
But I could articulate myself better than Mike. So Mike would just put people in front of the heavy bag, and he'd go, punch high, punch low, punch high, punch low. And people are squared off, and they're flat-footed, and they're throwing punches underhanded, Right. And Mike was just hammering a check and wanting to go home. And then I was like, oh, you got to teach people how to box. If they're here to learn how to box, and you got to teach them and get them in the stance and shift the weights and turn the hips and, all that stuff. And so I would try to teach people how to box, but then the manager would come up to me and go, all people want to do is treat this like an aerobics class where they just stand in front of the thing and just keep hitting it with horrible form. And you should shut up and just tell them to punch high and punch low like Mike Weaver. And then I was like, well, I feel weird doing that because I think they come here to learn how to box. And so I just ended up with my own 7 dudes who were the only dudes in the gym who wanted to learn how to box. And I would just teach my dude boxing class for there was a self-selecting group who realized Mike Weaver wasn't doing anything. Mike Weaver's just looking at his phone going, punch up, punch low, punch up, punch high. He was just telling them that. But he was clearly not, I'm trying to figure out, Weaver had a comeback fight when I was with him in the 90s. I think early 90s. Mid-early 90s. It must have been amongst Weaver's last, and maybe it was a Burt Cooper type, which was another.
Michael Dokes.
Michael Dokes.
You think that was it?
This his last one?
Oh, his last fight was Larry Holmes.
Larry Holmes was his last?
He lost to Larry Holmes in November of 2000.
He fought Holmes in 2000?
In 2000.
I hope this is the same Mike Weaver.
So weird.
I'm guessing that Holmes won a decision.
TKO.
Mike Weaver fought Holmes in 2000.
Yeah.
That's
Did not
weird.
know that one.
Did not. What was his fight in 93 or
Burt Cooper for the heavyweight title, NBA heavyweight title.
And Burt Cooper won that fight.
Unanimous decision.
Yeah, that's
Mike won.
Mike beat Burt Cooper?
Yeah, unanimous decision. 93.
Huh. Oh.
Well, do you remember the fight Mike Weaver fought? And I forget who the other fighter was, but one of them was winning the whole fight. And then somebody got caught in the corner, just landed this huge right hook. that ended it, and one of them was behind like on all the cards. But I think it was Weaver that won it.
I remember that Weaver was literally an Adonis with his shirt off. He was
just beautifully
just
built,
jacked beyond all recognition, and that's how he was. Like, he wasn't shooting steroids. He wasn't pumping iron. He was just built like an Adonis. Like, it was crazy. Yeah. I think it was him and
Tubbs.
Ken Norton. Well, Ken Norton was the other guy that was just a brick shithouse. Like, they just went. Somebody just saw him with their shirt off and went, "Well, you got to box." And they went, like, I don't box. And I go, you're going to learn how to box because look at
everyone
you.
Everyone thinks Ken Norton, before he passed, that was all the punching that he took is why he couldn't really speak well. But it was a car accident.
Oh, really?
He was in a really bad car accident, which is people assume that it was boxing that put him in that state the way Muhammad Ali was. But it was actually a really bad car accident.
Who the hell knew? But anyway, boxing, we could go on forever.
I know. I love that you know so much about boxing. That's awesome.
Oh, man. I mean, if you want to do a little trivia, I tried it yesterday with the Mitch Blood Green, which is, but this is deep cut shit, but you might be able to pull it off. We'll see.
Oh, let's give it a shot.
All right. Michael Spinks wore a knee brace for a lot of his career. If you can picture Michael Spinks in the ring. Leon's brother, I guess younger brother, went on to be heavyweight champion. Didn't last long.
Beat Larry Holmes.
Holmes.
So Larry Holmes didn't get to 49-0.
Right, but didn't last long with Tyson.
No.
Who was the other top 10, not household name, but sort of from the same era, heavyweight boxer who wore a knee brace at almost all his fights?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Is there a multiple choice?
I'll keep narrowing it down. Not a black man, an American Indian man who you may have thought of as Hispanic back in the day. Not the kind of build that Mike Weaver had. Turned out to be an alcoholic. Had a lot of slugfests in the 80s. Maybe into the 90s. I fought all the guys, just didn't have a great record against the guys.
Not a black man, but a Blackfoot.
A Blackfoot Indian.
Would it be? Is it Tex Cobb?
No, not Randall Tex Cobb. Joe Hip.
Oh, Joe Hip, the round Joe Hip.
Yes, round Joe Hip.
Wow, Joe Hip. I would never have gotten that one, but I do know Joe Hip, yeah.
Yes, did not have the Mike Weaver type build.
No, and he was really a big bobber and weaver guy and that went in there. But yeah, wow, Joe Hip. I haven't heard that one in a long time. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a deep.
And you thought Mitch Green was going to get that?
No, I was talking to
Charles Farrell.
His boxing historian, Jewish scribe,
manager,
the man who booked fights. So this guy had never been punched, bespectacled, and seemed to know the fight game, and did know the fight game. Like as soon as I said Joe Hip, he's like, "Oh yeah, Joe Hip." I used to talk Joe Hip. He'd get drunk. Yeah. He'd call me all the time.
But Adam, that is such an obscure. That was like that's seriously way left field.
Welcome to the show.
You were high when you came up with that one.
It's weird, but if you really go, okay, I used to watch tons of boxing, and nobody wore a knee brace, except for Spinks, who wore it maybe once or twice. But Joe Hip wore it every time I saw him fight. So I'd just be sitting there going, I've never seen this thing before, but this guy wears it. And why is he wearing it? And then it gets seared into my brain, and I know Joe Hip wears a knee thing. And when you picture Joe Hip, you'll see the knee brace.
For some reason, I see it on his right, on his left knee.
Well,
on his lead knee.
Now we're gonna have to see. And I couldn't tell you what knee or both knees or whatever. I just knew that was Joe
such
Hip.
such a great trivia question.
You
Nice work.
you would have gone through the rest of your life and never heard the name Joe Hip ever again in your life, right?
Absolutely. But when you throw it out there, I hear it, but I haven't heard it in years since you just said it.
He's got to be dead, right? Joe Hip. Oh, this
It
is
was
fitting.
right knee.
His right knee.
But let me see.
It was his right knee. Was he a lefty?
He is 61.
Hey, Joe Hip's still alive.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
Good job, Joe.
Keep trucking. All right, so enough weird boxing trivia. Movies beside the Silent Service, which takes place on a submarine, right?
Most of it takes place in the submarines. I'm on the SS Ronald Reagan and basically calling the shots. I play Admiral Steiger. I don't believe that. So basically, one of the submarines, Japanese submarines, goes rogue and declares it has a nuclear weapon on board. And the Japanese don't understand why he's gone rogue. My character doesn't even believe that he has a nuclear weapon on board, and he's basically has this power. And it's an interesting dichotomy in the idea of, what happens when you do have this type of power. Are you for good, for evil? What are you standing for? And he basically wanted to be declared his own country and kind of get the things that he wanted happening. And again, it was based on a manga TV show, just a lot of history. And it was done really well. I was just really lucky to be a part of it. It was really fun.
When
really
you were
fun
filming,
to do and go to
when you were
Japan.
filming Zero Contact with Sir Anthony Hopkins, you filmed that in Antarctica. What's going on over there? Like, is it habitable? Like, what?
No, not at all. So basically, we did Zero Contact, and the first one was done just on Zoom during the pandemic. And Anthony Hopkins jumped in. And he liked the script, and he was like, yeah, everyone's at home, so let's shoot something cool. So I was fortunate enough to be a part of that. And then we were starting the second one, and the second one starts in Antarctica. And so there was a few actors and the producer and director and crew that went to, we went to United Glaciers, which is literally in the middle of Antarctica. So there's nothing that lives there, no plants, no anything. And during their summer, which is, in around January, February, it's a 24-hour sun that just goes right around your head. And it was so cold, but we got there and it was gorgeous, and we're staying in tents and, in all our winter gear, huddled with a sleeping bag.
Wow.
And it was intense, but it was probably, I prefer not to go to my trailer after my scene is done and wait for the next scene. I like getting in the thick of things and, even lugging cables and moving stuff. I just like being a part of it. And that was one of those projects where we just really got excited about doing something that was a little different. So it was super cold. There was a few days that were really nice and blue. Then the storm hit. So it was crazy. We're watching. So this massive storm hit to where you needed sticks and rope to get from the latrine to the mess tent to your tent because it's a whiteout. So you can get totally discombobulated and walk into a crevasse. Yeah. So they were really warning us like crazy. But we had a little library tent, and so during the storm we decided to watch a movie, and they put on The Thing. And The Thing takes place in Antarctica. Right. So while we're watching the storms happening in The Thing, our whole tent is swaying back and forth. It was surreal being there and actually watching a movie that was set there.
It was like in Hateful Eight, they had the rope going to the outhouse. And then speaking of Antarctica, I mean, and submarines, it's amazing that the submarines can go under the polar caps. Like there's an actual thing that we make that can safely just cruise right on under the polar cap.
Yeah, I saw The Rock stop one with his bare hands.
The Rock. It's crazy. It's nuts. And
I'm
also, how many nukes? I don't know how many nukes. 24 some of those have on them. They can just go wherever they want and launch nukes wherever they want, which is crazy from the top of the submarine. I think maybe there's like 24. It's not 3. It's like a shitload. I don't even
like 24 nukes on a sub.
Yeah, nukes.
Wow.
Yes, I mean they could literally just pull into a. I don't even know how close they need to get to wherever you are. I think there's 12, maybe. Like a nuclear. I mean, there's nuclear. They're all nuclear powered now, but how many nukes does
I think
a
up
modern?
to 12 nuclear warheads.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Funny. I thought it was 12 or 24, but 12 nuclear.
I don't think it matters after two, really.
No, if only one hits North Hollywood Valley Village area, that'll be it for the Carollas.
Yeah, that's
just
enough.
one. Just one. Is it? And the range on those things is pretty far too, and they fire them from underwater. I mean, it is kind of insane. They don't have to surface to launch.
That whole technology always tripped me out. That when like I don't even like going in the water sometimes because I don't know what the hell's under there. But now you have a nuke under there firing stuff and you don't know what's coming or when it's coming. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, it was kind of. I mean, what we're talking about, the silent service has some Red October in it, right? In that we didn't really know if the guy went rogue or not, right?
Exactly. It definitely has that type of feel for sure.
Aren't you too tall for a submarine?
I'm not in the sub. I'm up on the Ronald Reagan, just kind of conducting it all for the submarines.
So the answer is yes.
But as a viewer, once you make it to Admiral, were you in the sub service before?
Well, now you're getting me to tell you some backstory.
Yeah, I want backstory.
And explain the scratches on your face.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were no Greyhound dogs on the sub. I mean, honestly, man, I just read my part of the script and went with it.
But you were an admiral from the Navy, not like admiral from the submarine division or whatever.
No, I was admiral in the Navy.
Oh, okay. All right.
5-star admiral.
I got you. Now you can be as tall as you want on a ship. It's I mean, they honestly must have a thing for the submarine corps. Like, they used to have things for cops. You have to be over 5'3" or something. Like they had stuff. There had to be a subcorps thing. It was like, you can't be over 6 foot.
You're gonna get back problems.
We don't want you. Yeah, you're gonna.
Well, listen. I even when I was offered the gig and I was reading and I literally was going, "There's no way I'm gonna be able to stand up in the submarine like this is."
Right.
And then when I got into it, I was like, "Oh, okay, I see. I'm not in the submarine, so this works for me.
They can stay submerged for like a year without like going up and getting air.
Really? Come on.
It is insane, some of the sub stats of a modern sub. And I just say a year. I don't know if it's a year. I don't know if it's 6 months or something. They can stay, they make their own oxygen, so they can stay submerged for indefinite periods of time. They can launch from underwater, those nukes. They're pretty fast. I mean, they can go like maybe 25, 30 knots or something like that. I hear they have the best food because you got to track sailors, and it's hard to get them in a sub,
Yeah.
But, I think Hunter Biden's business partner, Tony Bobolinsky, was a submariner at some point. I think he was a submarine guy back when he was in the service. They can be submerged up to 4 months at a time. All right, I lied. It's 4 months at a time. It's a pretty long time to be underwater. And think
with just dudes around and the water like that. Yeah, I don't know if I can handle that.
You're too tall. They wouldn't take you. Yeah. So, what's next? What else do we got coming out? More Nick Santora collabs?
I have one more with I can't say it yet. It hasn't been announced, but I have one more with Nick. And again, he's a fucking gem. I'm just like, I can't wait to meet the dude. And then I'm literally in the middle. I just got back. I can't talk about the project, but I just got back from Antarctica again.
Wow!
I just for a totally different project. So
the thing part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not even. It has nothing to do with zero contact. And this time we went through the Drake Passage, which I threw up more than I 8, like doing that. It was insane. But as opposed to flying in the middle of Antarctica, this time we were on a boat, Drake Passage. I'm really, really proud of this film. I can't wait for them to announce it. It's some nice A-listers, and it's really exciting.
Where may we find it once it's announced?
I think it'll be like a movie theater type thing.
Good.
So that's what we're hoping.
The tax incentive in Antarctica must be pretty low.
Yeah. What's the Drake Passage?
The Drake Passage is considered one of the most dangerous bodies of water in the world, period.
Wow.
And there's books written about it. People back in the day when, they wanted to do excursions to Antarctica, you would have to do the Drake Passage. And there was, like, I'm talking 1800s, closer to, there's a book called Endurance. And it's about Shackleton, who was the first explorer in Antarctica. But the only reason why he's famous is he's the only one that made it out of the Drake Passage. Because everybody that went back in the day just never came back because it was just violent waters, and it still is.
Yeah, the
cruise ships. Go ahead.
So I have it here. The Drake Passage is considered one of the most treacherous voyages for ships to make. Currents at its latitude meet no resistance from any landmass, and waves top 40 feet.
Wow. How long does it take to make the passage?
2.5 days.
Oh, man.
So it took us 2.5 days, and we weren't on a cruise ship. We didn't have any stabilizers. We were on a specific, like an icebreaker ship.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, again, I don't want to go back to my trailer after a scene. This is one of those ones where I loved being a part of it. But I mean, it was definitely tough. It was definitely a lot of seasick happening.
Wow.
Well, I look forward to that one. The Silent Service is the name of the film. Alex, I'll send Santora a note and tell him he's got a friend in you.
I love that. I would much appreciate it. Give me another gig.
Yeah. Or he can get me one for a change. Alex, great seeing you, my friend. Come back when the new movie comes out. We'll get all caught up, and I'll hit you with some more boxing trivia.
I love it. Thanks for having me on, boys.
Thanks, Alex. All right, West Palm Beach this Friday and Saturday. I'm going to be there at the Kennel Club doing stand-up, and then I'll be in Vegas after that, and then Bakersfield and Chicago and Salt Lake City. Just go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. Angelo Tsarouchas, everybody. He's got shows coming up, and you can, I gave you the website. Go there and find out where he's going to be performing. And Aleks Paunovic is got the movie The Silent Service as well. Until next time, this is Adam for Alex and Angelo and Chris saying mahalo.